Yep. Good evening, everybody. I had to turn my audio on. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the MyGridironFace live show. It is 8:19. Hey, sorry it took so long for me to come on here. Basically, what it is was that me and D-Lump, we was trying to work out some technical issues. He couldn't make it in the studio last week. He wasn't able to make it today. I was trying to get him on virtual type settings, and you know what it was, I was able to hear him, he couldn't hear me. So we was pretty much going through maybe like 20-25 minutes trying to get everything to connect. So pretty much he probably is going to be coming by the studio every Sunday. We have a live stream, and next Sunday will relatively be a what's next Sunday? Yeah, next Sunday it will be an early stream. Won't be 8 o'clock, won't be this long and everything. Now, also not only that, you know, 8 o'clock, I'm not gonna lie, some of y'all gonna be going to the movies because you know a scary movie comes out next week. He-Man comes out next week. You know, my favorite, you know, some of my favorite pop culture franchises and things of that nature, particularly He-Man. I'm waiting to see that. I mean, it looks good from what I've seen. But at any rate, like I say, there's a lot of connectivity issues and things of that nature going on. Also, not only that, yeah, what else? Yeah, it took us a while to get that going. I had to pretty much go back and do a refresh the course and everything because I hadn't used this feature in a long time. So that's why it took so long. But now that I'm here, I am here, everybody. Yes, I'm here today. Pretty much I'm doing another solo act and things of that nature. Pretty much going to be talking about a whole bunch of things like AJ Brown possibly being traded. Some other teams are, you know, expressed their interest in trading for AJ Brown. So we see what they're willing to give up. Also, not only that, the arrest of Josh Jacobs, you know that happened. James Pierce Jr., pretty much, it ain't hot water no more, but the water's still simmering. So James Pierce Jr. Could relatively get off with the skin of his chin as it relates to that. Also, some SEC, the SEC held meetings they had spring meeting last week amongst the SEC as it relates to, you know, the football, basketball, basically the association, you know, the whole conference had a meeting last week. That was crazy right there. And also some other politics. We're gonna get into politics. One little story about the politics, but it is all football related, NIL related, football related, things of that nature. Now, first things first, I'm starting out with the NFL. Oh, no. Let me go and give you guys a disclosure, copyright disclaimer. Let me see. Let me pull this up. 1976 copyright disclaimer. Let me pull this up real quick. Where's my images? Right here. Let me pull this up real quick because I don't want to get flagged by YouTube. Oh, here it is. Copyright disclaimer. 1976 Copyright Act of 1976. Let me read this to you guys real quick because I'm going to be sharing some videos and images and things of that nature. So I want to just pretty much clear the copyright disclosure. So therefore, I won't get flagged for any of the videos. Now, copyright disclaimer of 1976. It's a copyright disclaimer on the section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So therefore, the videos and highlights of things I'm going to be playing of certain players, coaches, teams, things of that nature is relatively up on the copyright fair use. I just want to put that in there. So therefore, YouTube won't be flagging my videos on no other social media platforms. Be flagging my videos and things of that nature. So I just want to put it up in here. Let me go ahead and mute this out real quick. I got two mics going on. I got all kind of microphones going on. Let's see. Let me see real quick if y'all can hear me. I want to make sure y'all can hear me. I don't want to get no text or anything like that. Hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on. I'll put my mic on. Test. Okay, good. Yeah, we're good. I want to make sure y'all can hear me. So, therefore, again, 1976 fair right copy use. So I want to make sure let YouTube and the government and everybody who has rights to their videos let y'all know, hey, this fair use only. You know, just using it for fair use. You know, for teaching and comment things of that nature. So. First things first in the NFL. Now, of course, you all know. Well, in case you don't know, right? In case you don't know, AJ Brown is. Hold on, here are my notes right here. Now, AJ Brown. Now, you know, tomorrow is the NFL. It starts the NFL trading. No, the NFL trade, not deadline, but the NFL trade starts tomorrow with teams is relatively on 2.0, free agency and trades, things of that nature. So the NFL trading starts tomorrow. You know, have another trading period, in-season trading period. But this is an off-season trading period. So it starts tomorrow, June 1st. Now, June 2nd, pretty much the hot topic of AJ. Now, everybody know the biggest trade of all trades starts tomorrow in the 2026 football season. That's Eagles wide receiver AJ Brown. Now it's been said that the New England Patriots were, the favorite to land AJ Brown. There's the other teams that I heard coming up in the mix. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. Is trying to dig in on the sweepstakes, and also D-Lump told me, he said the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know the Jaguars had a hand. Pretty much had their name in the hats for these trade deadlines to happen as well. So the Patriots number one, and I guess number two, number three, whichever order. Jaguars, Chiefs or Jaguars. But however, because of Mike Vrabel and that the whole thing with old girl, Diana Rossini, that's been, highly alleged and super alleged that, they had something going on, and pretty much it was being said that he's been relatively feeding her inside information as it relates to her reporting at these nature. Now it goes all the way back to the days of the Tennessee Titans. We was coaching there, so they had a long-term relationship. This is what's been speculated and being rumored, pontificated, and things of that nature. So the Patriots could not pretty much that those chances of landing AJ Brown could relatively be dwindling at this moment. So hey, the Chiefs smell blood, the Jaguars smell blood. Who was smelling blood in terms of AJ Brown? And Philly is relatively in the driver's seat. So though they can keep him, but they can also trade him away and get some capital. Hey, Philly got a lot of good players and things of that nature. Harry Roseman is a trading genius. Is a GM genius. So we'll see how that goes down as it relates to AJ Brown and who's going to take him and things of that nature. So it won't be tomorrow when we find out. But however, on Tuesday, it will be some headlines going crazy. No, don't get me wrong. Tomorrow, I would say in the news tomorrow, look for teams. Look for a lot of sources and teams and allegations. I guess trade allegations of what teams can have their name in the hat for AJ Brown. So he's hot commodity right now. But like I said, be though as it may, on the surface, New England looks like they're the favorite to get him. If not, look for other teams like the Chiefs or Jaguars to have their names in the hats as well. Now, here's the deal. Now, moving on. We're going to be talking about some things that relatively happened earlier this week, and some good things and some bad, positive things and negative things, and going on things like that nature. Now, of course, you all don't know Josh Jacobs relatively was arrested this week, and pretty much he was arrested on 5 charges, and it including felony strangulation. Now, allegedly, didn't Stephon Diggs just get up out this thing like months ago with the strangulation allegations? I'm like, what's going on with these strangulations and things of that nature? I don't know, man. Maybe he may be clear of all things. Now, let me read this to you. So NFL running back, Green Bay Packers running back Josh Jacobs was arrested on Tuesday on 5 charges, including felony strangulation, and booked in the Brown County Jail, i.e. Wisconsin. According to Hobart Lawrence Police Department press release. The arrest stems from an incident Saturday morning, which was last week, which Hobart Lawrence Police were dispatched to a disturbance complaint involving Jacobs, per the release. In addition to the charge of felony strangulation, Jacobs, 28, was booked on 4 misdemeanor counts of assault, criminal damage to property, Disorderly conduct, intimidation of a victim. According to jail records, the bond was set at $13.50. So you pretty much bond himself out. We are in a statement was released by the Green Bay Packers. I forgot where I got the story from, but hold on, let me put these highlights up real quick. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. Yeah, let me put this in. I forgot about this right here. My bad, y'all. I forgot. Oh yeah. So let me put this on real quick. So these are these highlights, things of that nature. And so says Jacobs through his attorney David Chesnoff and Richard Schoenfield denied the charges in a statement obtained by Ian Rappaport. So Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, Ian Rappaport, NFL Network Insider reported on this. This is where I got the story from. My bad. And also, a press release was also released by the Green Bay Packers saying that Green Bay Packers stating that, quote, "We are aware of the matter involving Josh Jacobs." The Packers say the NFL, a Packers in a statement obtained to NFL Network Insider Tom Pelissero. So he also supported on this as well. And it says in quote, as it is an ongoing legal situation, we will withhold further comment. This is a statement released by the Green Bay Packers. Also, it says in quote, Josh, and this is what his attorneys were saying. Josh vehemently denies the allegations, and this matter is in the early stages of the investigation with important evidence that has not been made public. The statement read, "We ask for fairness and restraint while the judicial process takes its course." And this is what his attorneys, David Chesnoff and Richard Schoenfield, was quoted saying. And also says the investigation, is relatively ongoing. So relatively at this point, an investigation is still going on as it relates to these charges and things of that nature. Now remember the last time, now I'll be honest with you guys, we're gonna have to withhold our judgment because you gotta realize, understand, what I was getting ready to say was that the whole thing is that even though Stephon Diggs, he had a lot of allegations going on with him, but at the same time, when they got in court, the lady tried to testify against him, and she was not guilty, and he found out he was wound up being acquitted because he lied on stand up on the oath. So like I said, we're gonna have to relatively withhold judgment and things of that nature as it relates to this case, all cases for that matter. Because like I said, innocent until proven guilty. So we see how this whole thing goes down. Now, moving on, James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. is pretty much on the good streak right now. He relatively accepted a 1-year diversion program to have the charges dropped. So all these charges that James Pierce Jr. got, like 39 of them, he had a whole bunch of them due to his ex-girlfriend, I think it's Raquel Smith. Let me pull her name. I don't want to get her name wrong. No, let me read, see if it's in the article. Raquel Jackson. Yeah, I knew I had it up here. All right, his ex-girlfriend had an incident with alleged incident with his former girlfriend, Raquel Jackson, down in Miami, Florida, Super Bowl weekend. He got in trouble. He was at the NFL Honors on that Thursday, and on that Saturday, wound up being arrested. So pretty much, James Pierce Jr. Is pretty much going to enter a 1-year diversion program and also have the charges dropped against him and things of that nature. So we will look further into that. Now, whether the league is going to do anything about it, he may wind up still getting a suspension from the NFL. Now, here's the deal. Don't get this wrong or get this twisted. Just because these players, they get these allegations against them, but once they do go into court, they get found not guilty, it doesn't mean that the NFL still doesn't have the right to impose personal conduct policies and things of that nature as it relates to them, and not the troublemaker, but just, even though the charge is going to get dropped, let me rephrase that. James Parker, he may not have a, hold on. Oh yeah, that's simple. Okay, James Parker may not have a suspension coming in at all, if you think about it. So even though these charges are going to get dropped, things of that nature. So these charges being dropped, James Parker may have a clean slate. Let's see what goes on. But however, hey man, let me tell you something real quick, James Pierce Jr., JPJ. Hey man, don't get yourself around this stuff again, or don't get caught up in any kind of allegations like this again, because They may not be so light on you next time, but hey man, keep your head on your shoulders. You growing old. I mean, you're getting older. Hey man, listen, you're gonna get a big contract and everything like that. Hey, he got 10 sacks last year as a rookie. Guess what? He gonna get 15 and 20 of them. And this come from an Atlanta fan, outside Atlanta fan, and non-Atlanta fan. He gonna get about 20 sacks this year. But James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker and the defense Atlanta has, I expect them to put up big numbers. I expect him to put up big numbers and the defense to capitalize real big. Now, however, the fact this defense is so good, Jeff Albrecht, we may not have him along. We may not have Jeff Albrecht around for long. I'll tell you why. Because Albrecht has had some interim head coaching stints. And don't get me wrong, Albrecht could be considered for a full-time head coaching job in the league one day. So I'll say another year or two, Jeff Albrecht will be on the table for a head coaching job in the NFL. We see how that whole thing goes down. Now, let's go ahead and move on to another story in the NFL. And I'm gonna go to college next, right? Because like I said, I ain't really gonna be here for long. Now, here's the deal, what's going on. Brian Flores, remember Brian Flores, former head coach of the Dolphins, and then he wound up becoming defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, guess what? Brian Flores is suing the NFL for racial discrimination. Also, not only that, the NFL took a major blow last week as it relates to the Brian Flores lawsuit. And also, they took another major blow with Jon Gruden in the NFL. And basically what it was, the NFL wanted to go to arbitration. See, one thing about NFL and these sports leagues, Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, MLS, pretty much these sports organizations, they don't want lawsuits. They want to go through courts. They don't want to go through courts. They want to go through arbitration. So therefore, the arbitrator can pretty much decide on what goes on. However, the NFL has relatively been suffering blows as it relates to their legalities and allegations that are relatively levied against them. Now, with Jon Gruden going on trying to sue the NFL, basically the Las Vegas Supreme Court says, hey, we can have, the NFL want to have a closed court case. Basically the court case would have been the closed case now over to the public. However, the Las Vegas, Nevada Supreme Court say no. Basically, we'll have an open court case, and this case will be held out in the public. So that's one major blow that the NFL suffered. Was it late last year or this year? Now, the NFL took another blow. They took a super major blow on this one. Now I'm gonna get to back to the Brian NFL story. Brian Flores NFL story. The Supreme Court won't intervene in discrimination suit led by black ex-head coach Flores against the NFL. So basically, Brian Flores is suing the NFL, and the NFL want to go through arbitration, and he want to go through the courts, and basically the NFL, the Supreme Court made a decision to say, no, we won't intervene. So let me read the article to you. It said the Supreme Court on Tuesday refused to intervene in the discrimination lawsuit led by former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores against the NFL, allowing the case to proceed toward trial. The justices rebuffed an appeal from the league. So basically the NFL tried to appeal to the Supreme Court. So basically the justices rebuffed an appeal from the league, which wanted the case handled through arbitration process rather through open court in New York. So pretty much another open court case in New York. The Supreme Court said, nah, dog, y'all take this to the case in New York. And it said Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Justice Brett Kavanaugh descended from the decision not to hear the case. Flores, who's black, sued the league 3 times in February 2022, alleging the league was rife with racism regarding its hiring practices when it comes to black coaches. Was later joined in a lawsuit by black coaches Steve Wilkes, and Ray Horton. Here we go. Let me read it. All right, now finish reading. Flores, who was fired by the Dolphins shortly before the suit was filed, is now the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. The NFL has argued Flores should go through arbitration rather than the legal system, but lower courts have sided with the plaintiffs. There it is. The league said it respected the Supreme Court decision, which allows lower court rulings to stay in place, but is in quote fully prepared to defend ourselves as this matters proceeds. Now, David Gottlieb and Douglas Whitgore, attorneys for the plaintiffs, say they were pleased with the decision, and they said in quote, the NFL must now accept that this commissioner cannot be the arbitrator over discrimination claims against the league and its teams. We're looking forward to litigate these claims in court, they said in a statement. Now, also not only that, also 25 other NFL teams have relatively been implicated in this lawsuit as well. So pretty much he's suing the league, and also 25 other teams have relatively had been named and came up, in this hiring process. So we see how this whole thing goes down. Now, this is gonna be serious right here. We will see what's gonna happen. I would say within a year or two, maybe a year. I won't say no more than 2 years. We will hear this. I think the courts will relatively have a decision made in this case right here. Now, moving on to some other quick NFL stories, things of that nature. Von Miller is basically lobbying for the Broncos to rehire him. Von Miller, I think the Broncos relatively could hire him, but at the same time, he's talking about Sean Payton. And Sean Payton, he could be a little stick in the mud sometimes. Now, we'll see how that goes down. Now, the Vikings have a new general manager. They hired an ex-Seahawks front office personnel by the name of Nolan Teasley to become their next GM. So Nolan Teasley will become the Seahawks next general manager and things of that nature. Now, excuse me. Moving on. Moving on. The SEC. Now, there's a thing that's going on with the SEC, right? The SEC has relatively been in some hot. We're going to get political here for a minute. The NAACP and the SEC. Well, more so not the SEC, but the NAACP. They seem to be at odds with the SEC. Hold on. Something's going on with my AI stuff. I think as I'm talking, it's picking up and things of that nature. But however, I guess my MacBook, so I think it's picking up some notes. It's kind of like pulling up notes and stuff. That's what had me looking at it and things of that nature. Now, however, the NAACP seems to have a gripe with the SEC, pretty much accusing the SEC of racism and things of that nature, because I'm going to get to a whole bunch of SEC stuff this year. Stuff this evening. But the NAACP is relatively encouraging black athletes to protest against the SEC and not go to their schools, go to other schools and things of that nature. This is because they've relatively been cited over some controversies that the SEC schools are racist and things of that nature. I will say this right here, and this is just my opinion on it, and here's my deal. If you come up watching Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, even though Georgia's my favorite team, but these teams, you want to go to these schools right here, and then they're gonna pay you like school pay you. Man, listen, these kids are grown. Go where you want to go, do what you want to do. And I'm not saying that the NCAA, and the Black Caucus who tell these kids not to go to these schools. My thing is this right here. These are grown people. Let them do what they want to do and everything like that. And my whole thing is this right here. Not go to these schools, you're going to be flipping burgers later on. You're going to be at the shoe store later on. You're going to be coaching, doing some weight training. Listen, my whole thing is, they got $10 million for you on the table. They're going to pay me $10 million a play. Hey, I'm coming to give you a football scholarship and go to the NFL. This is how I see. I feel like this right here. There should be no reason why no politics should have anything to do with sports, things of that nature. And sports relatively an outlet away from the politics, geopolitical politics, religion, race, religion, and reality, things of that nature. But my thing is this right here. Go where you want to go, do what you want to do. You're all adults. And they're telling the parents not let the kids go. No, you turn 18 years old. I'm not saying go out here and commit a crime or do nothing crazy, but go where you want to go, do what you want to do. And that's my whole take on that right there. We need to leave politics up out of sports. elite sports, about politics, you know, things of that nature. And that's the way I see it from this point going forward. And that's how I feel about it. Now, you can form your own opinions, do what you want to do what you're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I would say this like this: NAACP, Black Caucus. Hey, you don't want to go to these schools? No. They're telling them don't go to these schools, go to the other schools. Like, so what's wrong with the other schools? What the other schools are doing it, and which the ACC probably ain't doing it. But let's just say this right here: everybody just got a gripe because of the redistricting. No, the redlining. I put it here with the redlining of voting, political parties, things of that nature. So that's what's relative what this whole thing is about. It's not about racism, it's about the redlining and things of that nature, where you know the Congress can redistrict maps and things of that nature, do undo the redlining, gerrymandering, and things of that nature. That's what it's all about. So you're gonna go to Georgia, you're gonna go to Tennessee, Florida, Texas A&M, and LSU, South Carolina, things of that nature. You go where you want to go. My whole thing is some of these people who are of the Congressional Black Caucus and also of the NAACP have gone to the ACC schools. So what's the problem there? If so it's been a problem. You ain't just a problem unless it affects you and your party and your politics. Man, go ahead on with that. Anyway, go ahead and do what y'all gonna do. Now, just in case. Now, the SEC had meetings this week. I mean, it was the big time. They had a conference this week, pretty much a symposium, and basically that's in Florida, and a lot of things were relatively discussed, things of that nature. Now, speaking of the SEC, they had a meeting this week, and pretty much in these meetings this week, there was a lot of things that relatively had been coming up, and things of that nature. As you can see, there's Greg Skanky right there. Greg Skanky is relatively the commissioner, of the SEC, and pretty much Greg Skanky pretty much was saying, hey, in terms of the college football playoffs, 2014 playoffs, he basically saying that with the 2014 playoff, we don't need a 2014 playoff right now. We can always use one later, but right now, it's no thing is relatively on the books for a 2014 playoff. Greg Skanky coming out saying, hey, we got time to do this right here. Pretty much, it's really not time. I mean, we got plenty of time to do a 2014 playoff. We don't need one right now. So my thing is, we're actually doubling the playoff spectrum and things of that nature as it relates to that, and pretty much with the doubling of it. So we're gonna go from 12 teams to 24 teams. Typically, it relatively graduate. It goes in phases. You know, the NCAA tournament had 65 teams. Then they went to 68 teams. Then they went to 72 teams. The thing is this right here. With college football, the playoffs, it was 4 teams. The top 4 teams went. Georgia, Alabama, and some other teams that are out there, you know, that was in the 4-team college football playoff. You know, my team, Georgia, we won 2 national championships off that. Then we went from 4 teams to 12 teams. No, 14, was it 12? Yes. No, it was just 1 team, 2 teams, then went 4 teams. Then I think it went 8 teams, and then went 12 teams. We're going from 12 teams to 24 teams. Wait a minute, hold on. You go from 12 teams, you actually doubling the number of teams that go to the playoffs in the college football playoff. That's crazy, man. I mean, 16 teams, that's a fair number. I feel like that's a fair number to me. Everybody else, the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, the almost competitive conference, as it relates to football, but not any other sport. But in football, almost competitive conference. Pretty much, they want to, everybody, all these 3 of the Power 4 conferences want to go to 24 teams as opposed to 16 teams. That's way too many teams in the playoff. I mean, so that means that basically, if you go to a 24-team playoff, you're basically gonna go from the conference championships relatively be eliminated. So the conference championships, I know the SEC contract with the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta runs out in 2031. So that may be the end of conference championships as it relates to college football. A lot of other conferences want to go to playoffs as opposed to conference championships. That's gonna be crazy right there. So you mean tell me you gonna double the teams that go to the playoffs? You talking about health and safety, risk of injury, basically people's biology and DNA or just their bodies period can't handle all those games. So now you got to break down, okay, what teams get the first round bye, what teams get the first or second round byes, and wild cards, things of that nature. That's gonna be crazy with 12 teams in the college football playoffs. Yeah, you're gonna spend the money, but at the same time, ain't nobody gonna be worth that. There's a lot of football you play. You talking about 12 games a year. Then you're gonna add in 3 or 4 playoff games. You basically gonna be playing an NFL game. Now, here's another thing about that. And me and D Lump, we'll probably talk about this next week, possibly. If they go to the playoffs, now the NIL money, you only get paid to play for that regular season, I believe. Now, if you're going to expand the college football playoffs, you're gonna have to expand the way these kids getting paid. Because hey, you pay me $2 or $3 million just to play this regular season. Now, if I go to the playoffs, you're gonna pay me something. You gotta pay everybody extra. You gotta pay us something extra. Not just the NIL kid, but all the kids. You have to pay all of them. So I think that you're relatively gonna have to come up with the number what you're gonna pay these people. Hey, maybe $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever. I mean, whatever playoff game they play, they're gonna have to get paid for it. That's what I believe. You want more games, you have to pay more. That's what I believe on this whole thing. Now, moving on to some other SEC news. Now, like I said, the SEC relatively. Like I said, they held spring meeting last week in Destin, Florida. Also, the SEC wants to end. They want to end the cupcake schedule, the end of season cupcake schedule. That's what the SEC wants to eliminate, and pretty much they want to, excuse me. You know how those late season games where they play before they play their arch rivals, like a Georgia playing Georgia Tech or Alabama playing Auburn or Arkansas playing Missouri or LSU, something like. I think it's Missouri or Texas A&M. They play somebody in Texas and Texas A&M or LSU or Arkansas play each other. You know those in-state rivalries or those arch rival games at the end of the season. You know you play the cupcake game before you play the end of the season regular game. Pretty much the SEC wants to end the cupcake weekend, basically playing a cupcake game before they play the inferior teams and things of that nature. Now, here's how the story reads. The SEC is done filling up the late season. It's done filling up on late season cupcakes. The conference athletic directors voted last Tuesday as its spring meetings to play all conference football games the second to the last week of the regular season beginning in 2027. So in 2027, the cupcake games will relatively end. And it ends of additional warm-up weekend where most SEC programs play inferior FCS or lower tier FBS opponents before their typical rivalry games on the final week of the season. And it says in quote, that's the end of the cupcake weekend. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey joked about. That's Greg Sankey right there. He says also in quote, "We never got that one sponsored though." Yeah, now that's crazy. Yeah, so they ain't sponsoring that game. Now, it also goes on to read. It says the SEC leaders discussed moving away from late season cupcake games for the last several months. Sankey said the conference is set to expand its conference schedule from 8 to 9 games, with the upcoming season making it crucial for SEC to capitalize with bigger games later in the schedule. It's 9 conference games and recognition that you're populating more weekends, Sankey said. And he says also, in quote, "And you really cannot have odd numbers of open or non-conference dates later in the season because then it has a backward domino effect where you place games early. Ran to that into the 2026 season." So pretty much move forward. After this year, the cupcake games are over with. The Weedy Pooh teams are over with. Playing like Atlanta State or Sam Houston or some East Carolina football team, no, this is over with, buddy. No more cupcake. Now you may have a couple warm-up games well, no, you actually have 12 games in the SEC football season. You really only got 3 cupcake teams or Weedy Poo teams that you're going to play before you get to your conference play. So pretty much with 9 games, oh man, oh my God. Let me tell y'all something. The SEC football is going to be real good. College football all over is going to be real good. But the SEC, it's going to be real good this year and going to be real good from this point going forward. Everything. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on. Now, I talked to you guys about the NIL 2014 playoffs, things of that nature. Let me go backtrack to that real quick. Now, the 2014 playoffs. Georgia football head coach Kirby Smart says, with the expansion argument brewing, i.e. 2014 playoff, Smart hints at SEC secession. So pretty much the SEC, basically what Kirby Smart is saying, listen, if you guys go to a 2014 playoff, we basically secession from this. Now, ain't no way in the hell. Ain't no way in the world we're going to have all these teams playing. And what's the point? Basically, college football would be like college basketball. It's a lot of football to be played, and it pretty much takes away from the value of the sport itself. There's a lot of football left to be played, things in nature. Now, he also goes on to say the article goes on to say conversations around conference expansion have dominated the college football spring football meetings thus far. Kirby Smart comments Tuesday about the SEC. Hold on. My bad. Hold on. My bad. At the SEC, hold on. The Georgia no. Let me read this over to you guys. Hold on for a second. Let me put this up here real quick. It says, conversations around conference expansion have dominated the college football spring meetings thus far. And Kirby Smart comments on Tuesday about the SEC essentially seceding, have created plenty of questions. The Georgia coach suggested that if an argument can't be reached on expansion, spending in the NIL era and beyond, perhaps the SEC should try to go at it alone. Pretty much, we can get the NIL under control. We can get the college football college football playoff expansion under control. What's the point of having all this NIL and football expansion, things of that nature? We just do it ourselves, basically what he's saying. Then it says, I said this far a long time ago to our president. This is what Kirby Smart said to the school university president. I said on Tuesday. He also says, and quote, I've been a huge advocate that if we can't find rules that everybody plays by, then we should play our own. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid to break away and say that our conference is strong enough to go out and play. The argument in front and center whether to expand the college football playoff to 16 or 24 teams from the current 12-team model. For a chance to occur, the conferences, most notably the Big Ten and SEC, must agree on the format. The Big Ten, ACC, Big 12, and Notre Dame are all on board for 24-team playoff expansion. The SEC is against the model at this time. So pretty much what Kirby Smart is saying, that the whole thing is, listen, hold on, let me go back. My bad. Basically, this is what Kirby Smart is saying. If we can't get this thing right, it really ain't no point of us ain't even trying to, try to take all this stuff together. We can come up with a format. We just go it alone. And the SEC, and don't get me wrong, the SEC, the SEC got the independent spirit. You got let's say rap wise. You got Bad Boy, you got Rockefeller, you got Death Row. All those are bundled Sony, BMG, Interscope, Universal, all that stuff. Pretty much, in the South, you got No Limit, Cash Money, Rap a Lot, a couple rap labels in Atlanta and down in Miami. And pretty much the South, we just start independent, be like, okay, yeah, we go independent. That's one thing. One thing about the South, we're gonna be independent no matter where. It could be whatever, all over the place. Like, we can do our own thing. Now, somebody major may come up and pick us up or do something major, but at the same time, we're gonna do this on our own till we get it done. So that's pretty much that's a southern spirit that people do have down here in the South. So I can see the SEC going at it along. Hey, y'all want to play by y'all rules? Y'all go ahead and play by y'all rules. But at the same time, hey, you ain't got the players that we got. Even though Indiana, you still got Indiana, You still got the Big Ten. This year they won. Ohio State, no Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana. They've won national championship last 3 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they didn't win national championships. By era, you don't have an Alabama or Georgia, maybe a Florida or LSU who comes out and win like 2 or 3 years straight, who has a dominance on college football. Like it's no other. Now USC, University of Southern California, they had some reigns. So I would say the USC, you don't have these USCs of the early 2000s or Miami's or the late 2000s. You don't have like an Alabama, these Alabamas, Georgias, and LSU's down here. Who can win like 4 or 5 years in a row or 2 or 3 straight or something like that. So you don't have that kind of those teams out there other than the SEC. They're just in my opinion. I mean, no shade of the teams out there, but I think the SEC pretty much. Hey, look, y'all don't want to do it. We're doing our own. We go at it alone. So that's pretty much that's just the type of thing that we have down here in the South and the SEC, what have you. Now, also another story of the day. It's 9 o'clock. Okay, so let me get to another story of the day. In the spring meeting, right? Inside it was the ACC spring meeting, a 9-game schedule, and a growing frustration with the college football playoff. Oh man, listen, I just talked about the college football playoff. I ain't know it was gonna be my next story, but. There was a meeting held on Friday. It was a meeting that was held on Friday. It was like, I think it's wrap-up day at the SEC. The meeting was scheduled to, hold on, let me read the article to you. I'll go for it. I'll go ahead. I'll read it and then I'll explain and break it down to you. All right. I think it was Thursday or Friday. I said the meeting that was scheduled for 90 minutes, it ran for 2.5 hours. That's what I was going to say. Then it says, college football playoff executive Rich Clark, and his staff attended the SEC spring meetings on Wednesday to explain how the selection committee selects its field. The coaches and athletic directors in the room, the coaches and athletic directors in the room came with a laundry list of grievances. So the ACC pretty much came with the work, right? Said what matrix does the CFP selection committee utilize to help form their opinions? Why wasn't Texas weighed more heavily discussion last season? What kept Vanderbilt out at 10-2? Why and why should the Big 10? No, why should the Big 12s, Texas Tech and BYU's BYU rank higher than some ACC teams with stronger schedules? I agree with that. Yeah, why is that? And Vanderbilt, like, why is Vanderbilt 10-2? Why is Texas Tech and BYU getting bowl games and playoff bowl games other than Vanderbilt or CFP college football playoff bowl games from team like Vanderbilt, who has a better, stronger schedule, things of that nature. Now, let me go ahead and keep reading. Said the meeting was tense at times, sources told CBS. This story was according to CBS Sports as well. Now, it says the undercurrent feeding those questions is in the anxiety this league has faced for a better part of the last 3 years. When the SEC plays its ninth conference game for the first time this fall, will anyone on the CFP's commission give it credit? That's an interesting story right there. So pretty much we got 9 conference games. Now, the Big 10, ACC, and Big 12, and they're non-conference. So they pretty much, had their schedule already set. But at the same time, we win the national championship with 8 conference games. You gonna give us a 9th conference game? Now y'all complain and say y'all gonna give us 9th conference game. Now we go in there and win and everything. So pretty much I think, okay, this could be for the good or the bad. Okay, well, you're 9-3. Yeah, but at the same time, we played Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. Or played Texas A&M, and Florida. Or Tennessee, South Carolina, or what's another? I would say Tennessee, South Carolina, or Missouri. Yeah, at the same time, but they beat Georgia, but we beat them. So now it's kind of like I feel like that. I think that college football is kind of backing the SEC to a corner and giving us a process of elimination, or either they're just making us goats and greater than what we already are. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm a football fan. I'm a football man all across the board, but at the same time, I do believe in fairness. Now, in Michigan, if they go out there beat Ohio State, Indiana, and USC, or hey, listen, college football playoffs all day. Give it to them. Ohio State, do the same thing. College football playoffs all day. Big 12, Big 12. ACC, Anyway, moving on. Big 10, ACC. But, they go out there and have big time games, things of that nature. Now, I ain't tripping on them, things of that nature, but hey, they go out there, you win these nine conference football games or these tough football games, you get it all the way, all day. And my whole thing is like, look, like I said, let me tell you something. A 10-3 SEC, no, not 10-3, it's 12 games. A 9-3 SEC team will beat the brakes. And aside from my pandemonium and pandemonium, SEC biasness aside, I say a 9-3 Big Ten team and a 9-3 ACC team will probably beat the brakes off an undefeated, record-breaking Big 12 and ACC team. Now, be though as it may, Miami, hey, now Miami do it, I get it. Okay, I get it. Same thing is, if Florida State can go out there and win, I get it. But like I said, in Georgia Tech, right on the bubble. But at the same time, a 9-3 SEC team or 9-3 Big Ten team, it's a dangerous team. Like I said, them games ain't easy, and particularly in the SEC. That's how I feel about the whole thing. Now, speaking of which, that goes to my next storyline. Steve Sarkisian pretty much was taking shots at Texas Tech, saying that, y'all play them weak games and things of that nature. Y'all Big 12, y'all ain't really no good, no way, and everything like that. Or your conference, your scheduled games are really pretty much, mediocre, so to speak. So, not only that, now, Texas Tech, he made some comments about that. And Texas Tech board chairman offers to pay game buyouts so the Red Raiders can play Texas week 1. Pretty much, they didn't take those comments too lightly for Steve Sarkisian, and pretty much say, hey, listen, this is what we'll do. We buy out these teams, we buy out those teams, and we just play week 1. Listen, with Arch Manning, because your quarterback, Brendan Thorsby, might not be able to play. But anyway, with Arch Manning of Texas and that improved offense, and somewhat their defense is pretty much making a rise, playing week 1, they will put y'all in danger. They will put you guys in the dark ages. For real. It really will. Now, so let me tell you what the article says. Texas Tech is trying to get Texas and Coach Steve Sarkisian to back up their trash talk. After Sarkisian took a shot at Texas Tech's schedule in the Big 12 in 2025, the Red Raiders are offering to play Texas week 1 of 2026. I thought I said October. Week 1 in 2026. The Longhorns and Red Raiders already have opponents open to open the season with. Tech is set to play Abilene Christian, and Texas is scheduled to play Texas State. But Texas Tech donor and Board of Regents chair Corey Campbell, that's my cousin's name. No, Cody Campbell. I'm sorry, I said Corey Campbell. Cody Campbell, that's not my cousin's name. Cody Campbell is publicly offering to pay buyouts for both games so the teams can play September 5th. Boy, stop. Really? No. You guys aren't winning. No. You don't want to do that. Your quarterback in trouble. You want to pay out both games. You basically playing to get a BTA, a built ass whooping. You really are. I mean, I don't see no way you winning this whole thing, man. I mean, and I'm not saying you guys aren't good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you're pretty good. You're a pretty good Big 12 team. But again, you are a pretty good Big 12 team, but not a pretty good college football team. But Big 12, yeah, you really are. In terms of college football, y'all all right. You know what I'm saying? You're okay. But anyway, yeah, that's cool right there. Man, listen, go and keep your money, bro. We good. Guess what? You don't pay us to play a buyout. The players game right here. Listen. Don't pay us to set you back. Don't pay Texas. Well, I'm not a Texas guy, But don't pay an SEC team to set you back, man. I mean, hey, keep money where, I mean, just don't put your money where your mouth is because you're doing that already. Pretty much don't embarrass yourself. And yeah, that'd be the best way I could put that right there. Now, moving on. I know, let's see. Oh, I'm about to wrap up. Last story of the day. Key senators strike bipartisan deal on sweeping college sports reform with transfer eligibility and cap enforcement. Now, here's a bipartisan story that I got for you guys. Now this is the part where I can somewhat agree with politics entering into the sport because NIL is out of chain, and there needs to be some sort of regulation. Now, here's what the story reads: 2 senators have struck a deal in landmark bipartisan legislation to regulate college athletics. Next comes a months-long process on gaining enough support and passage in a divided U.S. Congress at a divisive time in America. Senator Maria Cantwell, a Washington State Democrat, and Ted Cruz, a Texas Republican, reached an agreement on Wednesday after more than 2 months of intense negotiations, adopting a comprehensive bill that would grant the NCAA its long-sought antitrust exemption related to athlete transfers, eligibility, and the compensation cap. The bill named the Protect College Sports Act precludes a creation of a so-called Super League, creates an agency and an agent registry, and limiting fees to 5%, which I agree with. I can agree with that because these kids go in these schools, these agents are taking up to 10 to 30 to 50% of their NIL money, and these kids are getting messed over. I can agree with that. So pretty much, let me go back to what I'm reading. Let me read this over again. The bill named the Protect College Sports Act precludes the creation of a so-called Super League, creates an agent registry, limiting fees to 5%. All sports agents in the professional level get 3%. So 5%, that's generous amongst what these agents are going to be getting. Permits the pooling of media rights and bars coaches from leaving their team before the season ends. I can agree with that too. So coaches, yeah, if you get like these Lane Kiffins and all these, Lane Kiffin did leave. Yeah, he left during the middle of the college football playoffs, so he shouldn't have left. So that Lane Kiffin thing, what he did with Ole Miss, yeah, so it will prevent those things from happening. Also, it says in quote, this bipartisan bill is designed to save the part of college sports that fans actually care about, Cruz said. In an interview with Yahoo Sports announcing the legislation. Cantwell described the bill as delivering historic protections for athletes, creating a national standard for name, image, likeness, compensation, i.e. MIL, by preempting state law. The bill intended to curtail the industry spending arms race to protect the future of Olympic and women's sports, and also provides athletes with guaranteed medical care and scholarships. I agree with that. Bravo. It says in quote, Congress is hungry for any bipartisan legislation. I know America is for sure, Cantwell said. The bill chances the passage of the passage of the U.S. Senate with 60 votes necessary for the adoption of the legislation. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, we have our political differences and things of that nature, but this right here, I agree with that. They're agreeing on the people in which they should be agreeing on, and I like the fact that they're working that the Congress Democrat, the U.S. Congress Democrat and Republican, the Congress and the Senate is relatively agreeing on this. Without the spending and without the NIL going out of whack, going out crazy, stuff like that, and everything for all sports: football, basketball, baseball, golf, tennis. I mean, excuse me. Gymnastics. I agree with all this right here. So basically, pretty much, where these kids are going there, and they get an adequate, decent amount of money, and they keep their money, and they don't have everybody spending, on people taking out their money, things of that nature. So I agree with all this all day and everything. So we should have that right there. I'm for it. I mean, I'm really for it. I mean, Democratic or Republican, outside of my political views and choices and things of that nature, I just like this beard right here. Now, having said all that, everybody, I hope you guys have a good week this week. I'm going to be announcing my new social media page. I'm going to be doing a separate video on that. It's going to be on my video shorts, things of that nature. What was I getting ready to say? Also, what am I getting ready to say? I was getting ready to say something else. Dang, with my video short and all that. Oh, it's gonna take me some time to get it. So I did reach out. Well, I got the video page. I got the page up already, but it's some other things that I have to go through, and I've already done that. It's relatively the social media company, the social media firm company told me I had to wait 24 to 48 hours for verification. So I won't do it until I have all this stuff up there, until I have those account details and those verifications and things of the nature. I will do that this week, but until then, you guys have a super Sunday, and I'll be back with a Marvelous Monday. I'll probably be back on a Tuesday. I don't think I'm doing anything else tonight because I'm kind of tired. I've been working all weekend. I got to come do this live stream and all this stuff, so I will get with you guys on tomorrow. Never mind the Monday, the Marvelous Monday video short. I will get you guys on Tuesday and everything. You guys have a wonderful evening. It's 9:15. I'm about to go watch me some Spider-Man New Orb with Nicolas Cage. The first episode, I'm still looking at that. I just started looking at it today, so I'm gonna have to do a little binge watching on those 2 episodes. But at any rate, you guys have a super Sunday. See you guys soon. Holla.